are live! Welcome to the Wasteland. I'm Sebastian from Cinemageddon Reviews, and thank you for joining us for another little bit of what we call News from the Wasteland. This is our weekly podcast where we gather around the campfire and discuss our thoughts on the state of the proverbial hellscape that is pop culture. Today, I'm welcomed by the addition of several close friends and collaborators who have made the journey into the Wasteland with me in order to talk. Would you all care to introduce yourselves to the audience?
Hello, my name is Emma, and this here are the survivors of the Wasteland. Also, Lewis, you owe me $5 for the rashes. I know you ate those. I was saving those until you ate those when I was looking.
If Zany speaking here, I have nothing to do with stealing rations.
Also, why do we need money if we're in a wasteland?
Dude, we need to survive. we need to survive because I'm starving. Unless you want me to eat you as a hamburger.
I mean, you're not going to get a lot of protein out of me, but Luis, maybe. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have a famous celebrity amongst our midst. A famous pony, if you want to call it.
Hardly. And I don't need rations because I've got magic and friendship on my side. That keeps you alive forever. Maybe.
Ooh.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kate from KateCast Reviews, host of the Let's Talk About reviews over on my channel. You can find me pretty much in any corner of the internet Sebastian's in lately, and this is our first time recording this intro. We definitely didn't have to redo it.
Outstanding. And we're just going to pretend that this is the first time we're doing this and that there weren't any technical difficulties before or since.
None whatsoever.
Exactly. So, this week's topic is going to be centering on what I like to call critical reevaluation. For those unaware of what I mean, critical reevaluation in this situation refers to the re-examination of movies to determine whether the reception they once received holds up or not, following the passage of time and other circumstances that may have occurred. This can mean anything from films that were poorly received upon release to now being considered masterpieces today, following the restoration of an improved version, just to give an example. Like the most popular example of this being Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate, to films that were received generally or even unanimously well, aging poorly as the years go by. Movies like Revenge of the Nerds, Love Actually, and pretty much anything by the Farrelly brothers. Now, I asked my friends here to pick a movie of their choosing that they happen to have strong feelings about that happen to differ from those that were shown from when they were first released. We'll make our case, explain why this movie is good or why this movie sucks, and just generally have a good time. Everybody got that?
Good.
Got it.
Got it.
All right, good. So, since this is the first time we're doing this and didn't have to re-record it because somebody forgot to turn their microphone on, who wants to start first?
Well, Lewis? You want to start
sure.
first, or should I?
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'll start.
All right, Lewis, so what movie or controversial opinion that may or may not get this show canceled before it can even start do you have for us today?
Well, like he's gonna have the controversial take.
This ought to be interesting.
All right. Go ahead, Lewis.
Hey, you said I didn't need to pick anything controversial or anything that relates to controversy because come on, why will I do an unpopular opinion just for a good amount of attention? Because that's not how I roll. Like, do you think I'd do that? I don't think so. Homie, don't play that.
Okay, homie, well, what movie did you pick for us today?
All right.
Well, all right. We're gonna go back to 1982, where I want to look at one of my favorite films of all time, Blade
I know
Runner.
where this goes. I knew.
Wow. You're going with Blade Runner of all things.
Yeah, I have an interesting history with Blade Runner, guys. I mean, when I first heard Blade Runner, I heard from the top list of the best sci-fi films of all time, and believe it or not, I got it from IGN of all places.
Same here.
Yeah, the you can't spell ignorant than IGN. So when they did that list of best sci-fi films and apparently Blade Runner was number one, I'm like, that kind of got my curiosity coming in. And one day I went to Specs Music when it was open at the time at the mall that I used to go a lot. I bought the collector's edition, which includes all versions of Blade Runner, and I just couldn't help but wanting to start from the very first version of the film that us, the audiences, were exposed to back in 1982. And this
Okay, I think I see where this is going.
yeah, this is when things go really rough on Blade Runner, because when Blade Runner came out, it was like audiences either felt like kind of dumb, or they just think that Blade Runner just came and went and nothing else would come afterwards. Because, and keep in mind, this is basically one of the earliest instances of Ridley Scott's career as a director, where where
Yeah.
every time one of his new films that he keeps making tends up to get either shortened or edited just to benefit the audience viewing in cinemas.
Kingdom
Yeah,
of Heaven, anybody?
yeah. Well, yeah, the thing is, this was post-Alien, man. The guy was on top of the world, and this movie, like you said, Lewis, it got trimmed down. Audiences didn't care, and including Harrison Ford, when he had to do a voiceover, which you can clearly tell that he just was not having it. He just wanted out. Yeah.
Yeah, just to clarify, the 82 theatrical version, it put in that very boring monotone voice of Harrison Ford narrating a lot of the key scenes throughout the movie for what we were supposed to, interpret Deckard's thoughts and moments in a lot of the crucial moments. But when we hear Ford talking in the background, is like, oh god, it's
Okay.
insult.
Forgive my ignorance, but I thought Blade Runner was beloved in the genre. Am I wrong?
Allow me to explain. Okay, hold on. Allow me to explain. So here's the thing about Blade Runner for those of you who don't know Blade Runner. Blade
Like me.
Runner, exactly. Blade Runner is a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece today. When it first came out in its original theatrical release, it was actually not a bad movie. It was still pretty good. The problem was, because of a lot of studio interference, the version that most audiences got to see when it first
Oh.
came out was a version that was butchered and edited to the point where it barely resembled that of what the original creator intended. And this includes the infamous monologue that appeared at the end of the film to kind of wrap things up in a neat little bow.
No. It was throughout the movie. He was narrating the whole movie because this movie was a sci-fi meets a film noir. So,
Oh yes,
Yeah,
I forgot about
let
that.
me
Yes, it was
let
throughout the
me
whole
yeah
movie.
let me get the synopsis out of the way. Blade Runner is all about a dystopian future of the year 2019.
Thank
Good
God
lord,
that
what year
hasn't
is it now?
happened.
yeah.
Thank God we're fine.
Thank God that never
Yeah,
happened.
Wait, hey,
No,
wait a
that
minute,
wouldn't be for
wait a
another
minute,
year.
wait a
and
minute. Where Tesla lied to us? There should be flying cars around in the year
There should have
2019.
been flying cars by now by all
yeah,
sorts of metrics. Back to the
We
Future, the
and
Jetsons. We should
yeah,
have
let me
we
all
could
of
have
those.
had
joke,
flying cars.
joke,
Instead, that money went to Elon Musk buying Twitter so that he can get Donald Trump unbanned.
jokes jokes aside, yeah, in a dystopian world of Blade Runner in the year 2019, where humanity has adapted into a very rough environment, where now they decide to create artificial life known as replicants. They're not exactly robots or androids. They're basically like us, but they got super strength and they got a strong resistance in their bodies. So basically, they are superior in their like in their physical force. The problem is, at least at the time of Blade Runner's 2019 story, these are Nexus 6 replicants, so they don't last for 4 years. And because of their physical prowess, they are ideal for slave labor off world. So yeah, Blade Runner does have that off-world thing going on, and the slave labor actually takes place in Mars, and and replicants have been considered illegal to be on Earth. So, and which is why humanity decided to, like the government decides to set up a task force dedicated to hunting down the replicants, and the task force is known as the Blade Runner, special units dedicated to hunt the replicants. And this isn't just executing replicants, this is retirement.
Okay, and now with that overlong synopsis out of the way, I have a small theory as to how, or rather why, this dumbass monologue happens throughout the film, and I think this kind of goes very well with some of the issues that fans of Blade Runner have with, well, Blade Runner, or at least the original version. Let us
Go on.
have
Go
you
on.
guys... So you guys keep saying that Deckard sounded extremely monotonous and deadpan throughout this monologue. Am I right?
Yeah, throughout the whole movie, he never let us forget with his voice.
So
Yeah, and even after Roy Batty's famous speech about the attack ships on Mars, and just hearing the, just I mean, possibly one of the most. I'm not gonna spoil what happens at the end of that, but I just love the word saying. At the end, I never understood what Roy Batty said after that.
oh my, okay.
Impeccable impression.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of difficult to mimic Harrison Ford because it's really you need to sound bored, and I don't think any human being can possibly mimic the level of boredom that Harrison Ford can create.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring that up is, do y'all remember the Deckard is a replicant theories?
I know where you're going with this.
This is when things get interesting with Blade
Ugh.
Runner, because yeah, even back in '82, there were two versions of it. There's the one that, with the Harrison Ford narration. Then there's and in that same year, at least, because the international version of the film is a little different, just with a little bit more violent action scenes. But 10 years later, we got the director's cut, like the cut that we were supposed to get right from the get go. But the problem is, like, okay, first off, great cut. Like, if you ask me, if you want to experience Blade Runner for the first time, it's either the director's cut or the final cut. The problem with
Okay.
these versions, though, it's that one little key scene where Deckard ends up dreaming of a unicorn. Thus, it lets it let yeah it lets it, yeah
And also,
yeah
fun.
just for whoa, but before, let me finish here. Like, yeah, and this is where it led to the infamous theory that really Scott kind of intended to make Deckard into a replicant, which, funny enough, most people around him involving in the making of Blade Runner disagree with really Scott's take on this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wonder
Even
why.
even Harrison Ford himself.
yeah. Also, that deleted scene or that scene with him dreaming of a unicorn, that wasn't even shot for the movie. That was the deleted scene for another Ridley Scott movie, Legend.
Wait, you mean it wasn't even from Blade Runner?
No, he just decided to, well, this looks cool visually, so I'm just gonna put this in Blade Runner to make it more of a hint that, hey, Deckard is a replicant.
Okay,
Yeah,
so, well, what I was gonna
Oh,
say
Legend.
is,
Legend is that movie with Devil Tim Curry. Okay.
yep,
exactly that.
Yeah,
yeah,
the amazing Devil Jim Carrey movie, but apparently that
Yep.
deleted
Tim
scene that was
Curry.
supposed to be
Tim
in
Curry.
Tim
yeah,
Curry did.
yeah, Tim Curry. Yeah, that's what I said. But if I mispronounce it, forgive me. But
It's
yeah,
okay.
that movie had that amazing Tim Curry Devil, and that deleted scene with the unicorn running in the forest. That's it ended up being included in Blade Runner, which even despite the deleted scene being in there, they they incorporated that origami unicorn that was near the end of the movie, which was done by Deckard's co-officer Gaff. Which, yeah, it's weird that now the unicorn is actually relevant in the main storyline, but apparently Gaff knows him. Which, don't worry, we'll get to Gaff in a bit later.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So basically, what I was gonna say is, does anyone else feel like the monologue was kind of an intentional choice to kind of basically hammer into the audience that, hey, Deckard's a replicant? Can't you tell by the tone of his voice how uninterested and bored he sounds throughout the fucking movie?
Yeah, I prefer.
Forgive me for correcting you. No, they never insisted that. The theatrical version didn't make it clear that he's a replicant, because the whole replicant theory that came from the director's cut. That's what led to that theory. Hell, even with Ridley Scott's original intention in his vision to make Deckard as a replicant, which, I mean, it's weird, but in my theory, I want to believe that Deckard wants to think like a replicant, because if you're a Blade Runner and replicants look nearly identical to humans, he has to think like a replicant, which is why one of my favorite scenes in the movie is Deckard looking at Leon's pictures that he got from the hotel he was staying at, and he was looking at one of the pictures when he had that really cool, like, Deckard has such a good way to analyze a picture, even through the reflection where he looks at the other replicant he was hunting at, because there are four replicants: Leon, Chris, Zora, and of course our main baddie, the big boss, Roy Batty, played by Rutger Hauer, God rest him. And so, and when he looked, and in that picture, that's where you see Zora with the snake tattoo. That scene is one of the coolest scenes I've seen, where it just makes Deckard. Yeah, Blade Runners, they hunt replicants, but I love the fact that it's kind of like a very detective-like scenario there.
I think I'm starting
might-
to. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
This might be going down a rabbit hole asking this, but does Blade Runner 2049 do anything to confirm or denounce this?
They kind of go back.
Kinda, sort of.
Well,
Well, they go back.
okay, just as someone
Okay,
that
is this a rabbit hole we don't want to go down? I'm just okay. We can.
Well, no,
I was curious.
just to answer your question, Kate. He is human. That's the funny
Okay.
thing, because as I said, Nexus 6 in the 2019 events only lasts for 4 years. So Deckard being a replicant makes absolutely no sense, because if he
see.
was, yeah, if he was, he would have been dead a hell of a lot
Yeah.
sooner.
Okay.
And then enters Rachel, his love interest in the movie, where she is a replicant. And I mean, I don't know how long her lifespan lasted, but in 2049, it didn't go very well after the birth of of the child. But that's another topic for another day. But yeah, in 2049, he grows old just like any other human, so
Okay.
he's not a replicant.
But how do you?
Okay,
Hold
thank
up,
you.
hold up. How do you explain the scene? Where's the scene where he is with Rachel talking about? I think it was a picture, but you could tell from his eyes he has the same type of glow, because in Blade Runner you can tell who a replicant is by their eyes. They give this like they give this like Terminator looking eye effect where they're red.
Yeah, because you're right, because replicants have that glow, that unique glow in their eyes, where it's one of the signifying identity, like gives us a distinct identity to who they are, because those glow in the eyes. And in 2049, now the Nexus 8 replicants can be identified just by looking in the left from the right eye, since now you can see the serial number. But and in 2019's case, like Runner, they use those void conf tags, where it analyzes the eyes of the person who's being tested to see to analyze it.
Well, that answers my question. Yeah, yeah. Also, I only knew about Blade Runner in film school. A professor of mine, said that it's one of his favorite films, and he recommended it to me. And I watched the final cut. But to be honest, when I first when I first heard Blade Runner, I thought I was expecting like a sci-fi cyberpunk action thriller. But what I got
Yeah.
was
This said, okay, I'm not mean to cut you off there, Emmanuel. I was just gonna say that is legitimately the same thing that happened with me, and I gotta be honest, that's part of the reason why at first when I watched it, I really wasn't vibing with it as much as I probably should have.
yeah. It took a
I hate to say this, but me too.
Because I think that's probably the big downfall for this movie when it first came out is by this point, we were pretty much many fans and many movie audiences were kind of spoiled with Star Wars. Star Wars kind of ruined the expectation of what sci-fi is capable of. It's always pew pew, sci-fi adventure, action, and shit blowing up, and heroes versus villains, and all that stuff. So when finally came this movie that felt like it actually had something to say, adapting one of my favorite books by Philip K. Dick, by the way, I kind of realized very quickly that no, this was never going to work out. Like, this was going to fail very, very hard because people were not going to be interested in this kind of movie after just watching Empire Strikes Back 2 years ago.
Yeah,
yeah.
this might be a bit of a tangent, but Star Wars feels like one of those things, at least as you look at sci-fi through the 80s, in that it increased the demand for the genre in a time pre-Star Wars where it was very, very niche. But it also feels like it kind of homogenized it, where people wanted more, but they wanted more of the same. And with sci-fi, you don't get that. Sci-fi is one of those things where you could do practically anything and go through all sorts of different concepts. But when your big thing is
And
that you just want Star Wars over and over again, and I'm not saying Star Wars can't be deep, we're not getting into that. But it is interesting looking into it and the trends that it started.
Yeah, funny that you say that, Kate, because this movie came out in 1982, which was a great year for movies. And if an audience,
Yeah.
well, yeah, what audience was expect what wanted from a sci-fi movie, they probably got it in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which is
Oh,
exactly
that was the same year of Wrath of Khan? Oh, jeez. I feel
yeah,
so bad for Blade Runner now. Wow.
yeah. In the competition between Wrath of Khan and Blade Runner, it's obvious who was the winner. But
God.
I don't blame because Wrath of Khan is a legitimately good movie. It's a great.
oh, yeah, it's one of the best movies in pop culture history. Like, period. There's no other film like Wrath of Khan at that time. Even today, it's still cherished as one of the greatest Star Trek works in the so-called odd-numbered Star Trek films throughout the 80s and
The
90s.
point to the point that they pretty much remade it in 2013 and everybody loved it.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
mean, it had some good stuff in it. It had a lot of good stuff in it. It had even more stuff that they could have probably improved upon. Maybe, like, I don't know, a completely different script and a
yeah,
completely different villain and a completely different restructuring of the ending and pretty much everything up. But you know what? How about this? I got a little surprise for you guys. So, I was looking up Blade Runner through Metacritic and I pulled up a little interesting tidbit for you guys. Would you guys like to read a old ass review of Blade Runner from 1982?
go ahead.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
I
Okay.
love learning.
Yeah, I kind of got this idea from musicals with cheese, as they usually read.
Yes, they do. This is so great when they do it.
Yeah, they typically read reviews from theater critics when talking about plays or shows that they watched on Broadway. So this one comes to us from Janet Maslin of the New York Times. This is actually June 25th, 1982. I'm gonna skim through this one just a little bit here. The view of the future offered by Ridley Scott's muddled yet mesmerizing Blade Runner is as intricately detailed as anything a science fiction film has yet to envision. The year is 1929, the place Los Angeles, the landscape garish but bleak. The city is a canyon bounded by industrial towers, some of which belch fire. Advertising billboards, which are everywhere, now feature lifelike electronic people who are the size of giants. The police cruise both horizontally and vertically on their patrol routes. Yes, see, they made it clear. They go vertically and horizontally. But there is a seldom anyone to arrest because the place is much emptier than it used to be. In an age of space travel, anyone with the wherewithal, that is such a weird ass word, with the wherewithal has presumably gone away. Only the dregs remain. Blade Runner begins with a stunning shot of this futuristic city, accompanied by the rumbling of Vangelis, may he rest in peace, his eerie, highly effective score. It proceeds to tell the story of Rick Deckard and his battle with the replicants, a story based on Philip K. Dick's novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I'm not even going to get into the argument of whether or not this is a good adaptation or not. Let's just say there's a reason why Dominic Noble considers this an in-name only film when it comes to adaptation.
Yeah, yeah, because when you read the actual book, the movie kind of just took a little bit of the details and just made it their own, and just have. I mean, and honestly, the movie is more of a cousin than than just a close adaptation of the novel.
Exactly.
I didn't read the novel, so I can't comment on Montel. I got most of it from the Dom, if I remembered correctly, the YouTuber who talks about adaptations from book to film.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was very informative and very interesting to learn all the differences. But despite that, and as someone who is film only, I still think the film is phenomenal for its time, and it's still and it's nowadays regarded as a masterpiece, even though not everyone would be willing to watch it out. Even when 2049 came out, for the minimal hype that was building up because of the return of the so-called masterpiece sci-fi film that everyone looked at the time, barely anyone looked at it. Oh, I mean, here's a good to me. 2049 was like the film
Please,
that I'm happy
please.
to watch.
At least you gotta go on a little bit of a tangent there, buddy.
What?
Yeah, you're going on a little bit of a tangent there talking about the Blade Runner. I haven't even finished the review yet.
I'm sorry. It's it's a little it's kind of a weird phase here, and as someone who has only watched the movie and not read the novel, I do intend to read the novel one day when I get it on Audible, because audiobooks are very convenient to me compared to just reading. But
Yeah, we're not sponsored by Audible, dude. Stop plugging them.
No, I'm not. Come on, dude.
Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag could be sponsored. Hashtag
Exactly.
please reply to my emails.
Not
Yes.
or as completionist does. Hashtag ad. Hashtag not an ad. But
Hashtag notice me,
And-
Pepsi.
and for now, the only thing I expect from people discovering the original Blade Runner is what do they think about the movie? Because even some people I know, when they watch Blade Runner, they do have a different opinion of their own, which still it's always interesting to listen to. Other than that, I got nothing more else to say. I love Blade Runner. I never get tired of it, and me and my dad always watch the movie whenever we're like in the right mood to sit in the like sit through on a classic sci-fi flick and just have a good time and point out whatever thing we never noticed the first time we viewed the movie. You just mentioned about the billboards, because good lord, so many ads. I just always like to analyze the city to see what other product placements did I miss, or fake product placements.
Yeah. Okay. So can we now talk about another movie? I have like two in mind to talk about.
I mean, I was still in the middle of doing my thing, but sure, we can ignore that and let's see who wants to go next.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine to transition. Go on, Emmanuel.
All right, I got two movies. All right, All right, I got two: Predators or Fight Club. All right, which one it's best to talk about? Predators or Fight Club?
Well, let's see. Out of these two movies, have any of you two seen them?
No.
I watched Predators, but I've yet to see Fight Club, so sorry to disappoint you all.
Ah,
No.
yeah.
I think for this bit, we're probably gonna be better off talking about Fight Club since that's probably the most interesting one we can talk about.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
damn.
Okay, give me a second here. So we're doing Fight Club and not Predators. Is that right?
Well, the typical thing about
You know what? Enlighten me. I like to at least listen to what you all had to say about Fight Club because I do want to watch the movie. Like, if this episode here of Cinemageddon Reviews Podcast can convince me, Zany, to go watch Fight Club immediately, I will do so.
Well, that's gonna be what I'm gonna try to do here. So, before you start talking, Emmanuel, let me just give the audience here, and by audience I mean Kate and Luis, a bit of a synopsis. A nameless first-person narrator attempts to support.
Wait a minute. We can't talk about Fight Club. We're not supposed to do that. And there's the
Oh
one
yeah,
thing I know.
yeah. That's the first rule. You don't talk about the first rule
What are
about
we
Fight Club.
doing
You don't talk
here?
about
Are we
Fight Club.
crazy?
You know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe we should talk about Predators instead.
Yeah.
You know what?
Go
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead.
All right. You all won. I'm watching Fight Club after this podcast.
Well, we did one thing good, I guess. Well, so this movie that has nothing to do with Fight Club because we're not allowed to be talking about it. Is about a nameless first-person narrator played by Edward Norton who attends support groups in an attempt to subdue his emotional state and relieve his insomniac state. When he meets Marla, played by Helena Bonham Carter, another fake attendee of support groups, his life seems to become a little more bearable. However, when he associates himself with Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt, he is dragged into an underground fight club and soap-making scheme. Together, the two men spiral out of control and engage in competitive rivalry for love and power. And that's the best description that I can give without immediately giving out the big plot twist that this movie is famous for. And if none of you know what the twist is, consider yourselves lucky and thankful that if you ever see this movie for the first time, you will get to be surprised for the first time when you see it.
Okay, so let me transition into the actual discussion. Sorry.
Yeah, that actual synopsis just sounds so amazing. But when you mentioned about the twist, it's like, oh god, I'm afraid.
Let's let Kate speak her mind.
I just wanted to transition into the discussion because Manuel, this is another one that I believe is beloved. So what's the different direction here? Did you not enjoy it, or is it something that wasn't critically received?
No. The thing is, when it was released, nobody got into it because it was just too dark for mainstream audience.
Okay.
And it was mostly a movie where it's mostly a movie when you're in the right mood where life isn't going your way and you're disappointed by it. And this movie is more like it's almost like a rebel movie where you basically go up against a man almost like corporations and basically bully the middle finger to the man and also that the fact that this is kind of bleak and ugly movie. Again, this was directed by David Fincher and is an uncompromising vision from him. And because of that, the movie didn't do so well. But it was because of DVD sales going through the roof, and over the years, it has now become a classic.
I see.
Yeah, the thing is,
Yeah,
it's not that the
yeah.
movie was received negatively when it first came out. It's just when it came out, not a lot of people were really brought into it, and as a result, it didn't get a chance to spread its wings the way most movies tend to do. It didn't even. This is before social media, so we didn't even get the pleasure of having Twitter people talking about this movie and saying how good it is or recommending it through word of mouth. Like it basically needed to survive through word of mouth, similar to The Shawshank Redemption, which also failed financially in the box office, but was made a success thanks to VHS sales.
Yeah, like that. And the funny thing is, I love David Fincher. David Fincher is one of my favorite directors, but only throughout the movies I've seen thus far from it. And 9 times out of 10, all the movies I've seen that he's made are nothing but amazing. Seven, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake, Zodiac, so many good movies. And I haven't seen Mank yet, but I know I'm gonna enjoy that one. So I love David Fincher, and Fight Club is one of those movies that I haven't even seen yet. So, and I've been wanting to for the longest time, and I actually wanted to buy like one of the latest Blu-ray releases of it, and but I couldn't. So, and I've been trying to hunt down the Blu-ray for Fight Club for quite some time.
I currently still have my copy of it that I bought for like $7 on Best Buy, and it was one of the trippiest Blu-ray releases. When you pop it in, if you're popping it in on the PlayStation 3, you're not getting Fight Club. You're getting some weird. It's almost like a bootleg film, and then when you actually boot up the film, you get a weird little menu that's not so much a menu for a movie, but rather an instructional video talking to you about home decoration or some shit like that.
What?
Yeah, it was.
Really?
You don't. Yeah, I have a copy of this. We need to meet up one day so that I can pop it in on your Xbox so that we can see for ourselves. But it's the weirdest thing. Like you pop it in and the movie basically becomes a sort of Good Housekeeping catalog kind of thing, if that makes any sense. Like
Man,
it,
that sounds bizarre.
I know, and the fucked up thing is, because this was the first time I was watching Fight Club, I was hopelessly confused. I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to be doing here, and it was only through navigation. It's like, did I get gypped out of a movie? What is this? But as I kept scrolling through the menu, it's like, okay, I got the menu, we got the play movie button, the setup, the scene selection. Okay, so I have the movie. It looks like a weird. It just looks like something that a boring ass white couple would be looking at. So I went through it. I set up the subtitles because I always watch my movies with subtitles on just in case I stupidly don't hear something because I'm pretty sure I'm going deaf. And
I'm subtitles exclusively too.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. And then I see the movie and I am uncomfortable at the first few minutes with the dearly departed Meatloaf as one of his best acted performances of all time, bitch tits.
Yeah. Also, if any of you have a crush on Brad Pitt, there is a scene there. If you blink and you miss it, you probably see his dog.
Okay, Emmanuel, do not get this video demonetized for the love of God.
What?
Do not bring up anything like this for the love of God, Emmanuel. First of all, that's a spoiler. And second of all, do you want my shit to get demonetized?
Dude, that's not even a spoiler. The biggest
She doesn't know what it is yet, dude! She has never seen
That
it!
would get you demonetized. But just mentioning it, I think you're okay.
I mean, yeah, but still, like, leave something for the audience to be surprised in.
Calm down,
okay. Well, since you told me about the Mighty Excalibur, then maybe I'll consider checking out Fight Club then.
I mean, we should watch it together just so that I can pause it at the exact frame. It's just, you pause it right there, and it's such a blink and you'll miss it moment, but you pause it at just the right moment. Yeah, that is definitely Brad Pitt.
You underestimate how dedicated Brad Pitt fans are.
Yeah.
Man,
oh, yes.
Man, they're quite I mean, sarcasm aside, goddamn, if there are Brad Pitt fans, they might just mention Fight Club as their orgasm moment.
Yeah, and also that guy. I mean, look at that guy. Look at the guy. He was in his prime, and he had like abs and everything. Man, the guy was.
He still has abs, though. What are you talking about?
I mean, come on. What? The guy? How old is he again?
He's over. He's like, I think he's close to pushing 60, but he still looks good. Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah, where he won the supposed quote unquote best supporting character, which I call that BS. He's like the
Oh my
main
God, he
character
did
throughout
win.
most of the
I
movie.
forgot about that.
Yes. To be fair, that was a very well-deserved Oscar win, in my opinion. But he was pretty much the main protagonist of that film. In Fight Club,
Exactly.
however,
Oh yeah.
the thing about Brad Pitt, and which also is this thing that can be attributed to Fight Club, is he always seems to be the character that steals the show, even in movies where he's not even in it for that long. Like, have you guys seen this movie, The Lost City, which just came out with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock?
Oh,
No.
I've been wanting to watch that one.
It's on Paramount Plus, by the way.
yeah,
We're not.
I already have it on my watch list. I haven't watched it yet, man, because I was busy watching The Offer.
Okay, well, okay, so if you saw the trailer, you know that Brad Pitt is like a big supporting character in that film. Like, he comes in there, he's teaming up with Channing Tatum to save Sandra Bullock. Yeah, spoiler alert, he dies midway in the beginning of the film.
Well, thank you for spoiling that, asshole.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, the trailers
Well,
basically made it look like he was a big part of the movie. But here's the weird part. I know why they put him in the trailers. Because he's the most memorable part of it. Also, I think Kim Possible needs some help there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, that was my phone. I'll silence it. Sorry.
It's okay. I just thought it'd be funny to point that out. But yeah, Brad Pitt seems to always be the scene stealer in any movie that he's in, even if he's only in it for like a few seconds. And
Well, if you ask me what's my favorite out of anything where Brad Pitt just steals the show, and it's even better when you can't even understand him for the life of y'all. It's in the movie. Damn it! It's that movie. It's by Guy Ritchie.
Oh, I know. Snatch, right?
Snatch.
Gentlemen?
Yeah, Snatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snatch
Yeah.
is amazing, and when Brad Pitt appears there, and then he talks in this weird, bizarre accent that even the
Yeah,
movie itself, like,
he's-
even describes as what the fuck is he saying?
Yeah, he's supposed to be Irish, though. Do Irish people talk like that? I don't. Not even the movie acknowledges that. Okay, what the fuck is he talking about?
yeah, I'm not Irish, so I can't speak on that behalf. I will say this. His appearing on many films has become something of a problematic issue because y'all remember the movie 12 Years a Slave?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, Emmanuel,
I haven't seen the movie, but my parents did. And yeah, they sounded a lot more bored than seeing it as the so-called Oscar-worthy nominated film.
Okay,
Which-
well,
which is a-
okay,
Yeah.
Luis.
When that movie came out, that was the year where people came forward and admitted that they voted for it, even though they didn't see the movie. And I just felt so bad for everybody who won. Like, you could argue whether or not it was deserving, but to hear that and the fact that they voted when they didn't even see it,
That
like,
was BS. I hated that.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
same thing
and-
with
and
Frozen too.
Yeah, and I love that movie. Like, it was one of my favorite movies of that year, and I was very happy when it won Best Picture. The problem is, when I watched it, I realized one very important thing. Brad Pitt is a producer, and he's in the movie for about 5, maybe 4 minutes, give or take.
Mhm.
Why am I bringing this up? Well, because if any of you were on the internet around that time, you know that there was a little bit of controversy with one of the posters for this movie about Solomon Northup and his 12 years being enslaved despite being a free man in the north of America at the time during the Civil War. They made a poster with Brad Pitt's character as the front and center of this movie.
Oops.
Yep. No Chiwetel Ejiofor was nowhere near those posters. It was just Brad Pitt in 12 Years a Slave. Which, if you look at that poster now, it's kind of hilarious because it basically makes it look like, is he the slave? Is he the slave owner? Where's I need to see this now because now I'm curious. And then you watch the movie and you realize I paid $12 to see this movie, and Brad Pitt was in it for like 4 minutes, and only at the end I feel gypped.
Yeah, I mean, also it's a great movie, but it's a movie that it's great, but I don't know if I can watch it again because this is basically Schindler's List, but with slavery.
Yeah, and by the way, I
Yeah.
think we're kind of going off track here, but that's basically what I'm trying to explain when it comes to Brad Pitt, is that he always steals the show on every movie, but I think Fight Club is one of those situations where he kind of has to steal the show, because if he doesn't, then the movie is kind of, and I hate to say it, very boring and very underwhelming without him to basically be the one to weave the plot as it goes along. Because the thing about Fight Club is that it's, even though he is the one that gets all the attention, Edward Norton is supposed to be the main character. This is his story, and Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt's character, is a big part of the movie's big, oh my god, what the hell is going on here, plot twist at the end. But even then, it's not a plot twist because of Brad Pitt's character. It's a plot twist because of something completely different. And when people watch this for the first time, I can only imagine how confused they must have been, because this is one, like, if you're not in the know of this is a very, very pretentiously made film. Like, with all this talk of corporations are evil and all these alpha male douchebags fighting each other, and it kind of led to an unfortunate rise in people getting the wrong message and knowing, hey, this guy, these skinheads, which is basically what they are. This is basically a cult of fucking skinheads. These are not the good guys. You're not supposed to be rooting for them.
Like they really totally got the wrong message. I mean, what do you get from beating the shit out of people, or you yourself getting beat up, and that's supposed to give you like what, like clarity? No.
Exactly.
And poor Jared Leto, what they do to that man in that movie.
That was back when Jared Leto was still seen as a very good actor, and he still is. It's just you need to stop with the Morbid Time jokes.
I have to say this. Do you want me to say it?
If you say it, you're banned, dude.
Okay, could use a little bit of Morbid Time at that.
Motherfucker!
Damn it! Come here, you! If I was there, I would strangle you.
That's it.
I mean, come on. The moment you mentioned Jared Leto, I just couldn't help it. I had
You
to
did
say
that
it.
yourself, man. Like, you have no one to blame.
This is what happens when we invite you along, Luis. You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But
So,
yeah, basically.
Speak. Now, we the next thing may not be about vampires, but KateCast, what would be your choice of movie in this conversation?
Hold on, man. We're not finished.
Yeah.
Talking about Fight Club, though.
Yeah, aren't we still talking about Fight Club?
Yeah. Stop. Like,
Hold it, please.
I'm only doing this just to escape from our two boys who are about to strangle me. This is just my cue to escape.
Yeah, try not to
Scapegoat, thanks.
My God.
Hold up. I don't know what else to say about Fight Club without spoiling the movie. All I can say is go watch it. Or because I was about to talk Starship Troopers, but I was first. Kate, you have to pick your movie. You want? Go right ahead.
Okay, Seb, you're the host here. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I mean, I was gonna use mine at the end there.
Okay, so I was originally going to go for something that's a bit more obvious for me, but then I was looking up this movie for something completely different, and I saw its Rotten Tomatoes score, and I was like, what? Like, it's not the most amazing movie ever, but I thought it was a lot of fun for what it is, and that is National Treasure 2, Book of Secrets.
Oh, yes!
What?
Let's go!
I love these movies. I'm that kid, and I don't know if you guys relate, but I was definitely that kid who got really into history, and a big part of that was the National Treasure movies. Like, I was probably the perfect age for it. Like, Oh God, I was like in somewhere like the 11 to 14 range. That's when
Yeah,
that's where I was when the two movies came out.
I was
And sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was basically a teen when those movies came out. In fact, I saw those movies as our teacher, our history teacher, basically went to gave us a school trip to see those movies. Like, I mean, the first one as part of a history project, because it focuses on American history, particularly the American Revolution. And I watched it, and what I got out with it was, well, this is a very interesting, fun movie. It's mostly It's kind of Indiana Jones, but with American history.
Yes. It's very like history professor doing Indiana Jones. It's very much that. And it's also got like a heist angle to it. Well, but that's the first one. The second one does to an extent too, but it is way crazier. Like we're going global with the history. Like they go all over the place, and the history is a bit deeper. And this is the reason I wanted to pick this movie, because I think it's, at least for the genre that it's in, it's a very important reason to understand why people would enjoy it. For the record, there is a lot in both National Treasure movies, but especially the second one, that is not historically accurate, or at the very least, kind of like washes down some historical elements to it. But the thing that makes the National Treasure movies work so well, at least to me, who at the time was a homeschooled nerd who didn't really have an academic area, so I just looked into and researched whatever I wanted. These movies gave me the interest to look into these areas. Why are these things so fascinating? What's with these societies? And most of it is branch and actual things. You just have to do your own homework to learn the truth. But that for me was really interesting, and I don't think I would have looked into things like the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, or the history behind a couple of presidential desks, or all sorts of Native American stuff, if it wasn't for Book of Secrets. Like, if any movie that could get a 15-year-old kid to read a 200-page book on the week that John Wilkes Booth was on the run is doing something right.
So what makes National Treasure 2 different compared to the first one, especially when you bring up the Rotten Tomatoes score?
Mostly, I think the thing that might have gotten it to be a bit, like, I know the first one wasn't a critical darling, but it did okay. 2 gets a lot more flack. I assume, here's the thing, I just realized it got rotten scores, so I don't have the exact data. I'm sure Seb is looking it up as I'm talking right now.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
But my best guess is that it goes on a few more tangents, and it's definitely a bit sillier. Like, it's a bit more hokey in the dialogue.
Wrong about us!
Whoa.
Wrong about
Wait,
Thomas Gates!
Wait, hold up. I'm looking at the Rotten Tomato score. It has
a 36.
36.
Yeah.
I know, right?
But what's interesting about that is it has a 67% audience rating. So critics didn't like it, but audiences sure as hell did.
Yeah, like my history with National Treasure is fun. Like, not, I mean, I didn't watch the first movie in theaters, but funny enough, I watched the first movie. It's like staying at this hotel with a family, and they had the movie available to watch, and I had a ton of fun. And not to mention, gave me a proper introduction to a couple of the actors featured in the movie, from Nicolas Cage.
Exactly.
Yeah, like with Nicolas Cage.
Movies, this is the most toned down Nicolas Cage you'll probably ever see.
Well,
in the first movie,
like an actual character.
Hold it, tone down. How do you explain that scene where he's making a fool out of himself in that
in the museum?
I was literally just about to say, the second movie, Book of Secrets, is where we actually have a Nicolas Cage moment where he's freaking out in Buckingham Palace as a distraction to help get to the Queen's desk. And if you haven't seen this movie, that sentence probably made no sense. But trust me,
yeah,
I promise.
Also, go ahead, Louis.
Yeah, not to mention in the second movie, I like the character Riley. Riley is my favorite character throughout these movies, and I mean, the moment when he was trying to sell quote unquote his
His
book
book.
because at Borders. Good
Rest
Lord,
in
God
peace.
rest. I know, right?
Oh God! Oh, you
I
just
just
And
made a
rewatched the
whole.
movie recently, and I was like, "Oh man, I forgot this was in
I'm like,
Borders."
I'm lucky. I'm lucky that my mind is still fresh because I did watch these movies like fairly recently, like a couple of months back, and I remember like seeing the border scene, and then all of a sudden his Ferrari gets taken away after he was kind of lying to a potential customer who's just asking for Ben Gates, and he's like, "Yes, I'm Ben Gates. Isn't that your car getting towed?"
Yeah,
That's, yeah, right. Riley is a ton of fun, and of course Nicolas Cage. Yeah, as you say, this is the movie where it gave me like the best way to get me like a proper flavor of Nick Cage.
Yeah,
A crazy Cage.
yeah.
this is
Also,
also the thing. Sorry, go ahead.
also when the second movie came out, I was at Washington D.C. I was at the
Really?
yeah, I was at the monuments. I think the first or the second movie they show. Like I was at the Lincoln Monument, the a lot of places like the bell. I think it was the scene in the first one where there was a bell, the famous
Yeah,
bell,
Yeah, the Liberty
yeah,
Bell.
the
Yeah, yeah,
Liberty Bell. Yeah.
the
yeah.
Liberty Bell, and besides, it was at the time where Bush was still president, and I
Oof.
could. Yeah, I wasn't allowed. We weren't allowed in the White House yet, but we did manage to go to Congress, and yeah, Congress. Yeah, even I was. Well, even we were seated at a Congress hearing, and my God, the movies version of Congress, and when you actually go to the real Congress, two completely different animals. My God, I, I was yeah, I was bored to tears by this, and by God, we decided to go, and they got me because I couldn't last another minute. I was nearly going to sleep during the hearing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
Oh,
also
that's quite an interesting story there.
yeah, also I do remember there was a big billboard for Book of Secrets. You know, the famous one where Cage is holding a torch with the book.
Yes.
Which
Yeah,
basically became like the big poster for this film.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is
Oh,
really
Oh,
cool.
yeah, but yeah, but to give it credit, this movie at least made me want to research more of the history, including is there actually a book of secrets, like an actual book for the president's eyes only?
I'll say
'Cause-
this.
Yeah, that's
This
the thing. Like, I was real. This is also a movie that got me. And for the record, I don't actually believe in it. Most of the stuff, I just find it fascinating. Of like, secret societies and like government conspiracies and
yeah,
stuff like that. I find it really interesting. But I will say, the previous administration, pretty much confirmed to me that there is no Book of Secrets. Otherwise, they would have leaked that nonsense ages ago just to get points on Twitter.
Yep. I
it'd,
hate
be, it'd be funny if one of the recent presidents that we've had, and I know, I'd be looking at Trump right now. He's probably gonna brag about the Book of Secrets on Twitter. Am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And
yeah,
also in this movie, you've got Bruce Greenwood playing the president, aka Batman, and Under the Red Hood.
Ah!
There's
yeah,
nothing
and
wrong with
also
that.
the best actor to portray Jack Kennedy. If anybody doesn't know that he once played John F. Kennedy in a movie.
I didn't, but now that you say it, that does seem very fitting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, and I yeah, what was it? Oh yeah, that the part where the Book of Secrets, and also made me think about the Freemasons, those secret societies, and although the fact about John will, yeah, the fact that this movie kind of goes off the rails a little bit towards the end, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I mean the movies I get that they're trying to get into the history thing where like near the end of the movie, like during the film's climax when they get to Mount Rushmore, which yeah, it's a lot cooler when there's like hidden secrets in Mount Rushmore,
yeah,
but then way later in time when I watched the movie North by Northwest by Alfred Hitchcock, where in the climax it also takes place in Mount Rushmore. I think I'm more excited to, witness a man falling to his death from Mount Rushmore compared to just going in the backheads of the four yeah, the
Mount
faces
Rushmore was
around
a cover-up.
Mushmore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also,
And then you later
also,
find out the truth that Mount Rushmore was literally built as a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
yeah. Also, those movies kind of don't age well, especially the first one. When you watch it today, it's almost like I'm watching an episode of CSI, and then I will like, wait, why?
It does feel very CSI, you're right.
Oh my god,
Especially once
yes.
they're stealing the Declaration, it does feel very CSI.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to be able to see that now.
Yeah,
Oh,
because when
God.
Even though I mean, I didn't watch CSI, but I thought it was just a weird, campy fun where when Nick Cage stealing the Declaration of Independence and
Yeah.
Mike, yeah, and I love. But what kind of saves it all is that whenever they're trying to handle the paper, because it's a really old paper and extremely fragile, I love
Yeah.
I just love little details like that where they have to be very, very careful, especially when they're trying to
Yeah, me
decode the
too.
message.
And
Like,
that's
yeah,
something I think that the movie gets away with is that the people who are, trying to solve this mystery and find a treasure with something, they may not have the exact details of history as you would probably want as an adult who understands that not all of this is accurate, but they have the respect for the history. Abigail, the main female character here, Abigail, is a museum curator. She, Ben's family goes all the way back to the Revolution. Or, if you read, one of the reasons I was looking up this movie is because I found out there are tie-in novels to the National Treasure movies.
Seriously?
That take the Gates family
Really?
all the way back to the Jamestown settlement.
Wait,
Wow.
what?
Yeah, this is a thing.
man,
Also-
that's news to me.
No, also, the reason why it feels like CSI. Look at who produced these movies.
Jerry
Jerry
Bruckheimer. God damn
Jerry
it!
Bruck-
Damn
This
it,
was
he's
Jerry
right.
Bruckheimer, yes.
Yeah.
Ri-
Yeah.
riding that Pirates of the Caribbean fame for a little while because
Oh.
he was willing to
And
throw him a little more
no,
money.
no, I mean, yeah, it is dick pandering, but I can't help it. These National Treasure movies are good dick pandering, and if there's anything that I appreciate the National Treasure movies for, it gave me a good introduction to possibly one of the best actors today, Sean Bean, which he didn't die.
Yeah.
he's in the
He
first
only
one,
dies
you're
in
right.
he only dies in good movies. There's a reason why he didn't die in Percy Jackson either.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come
The,
on,
book, the
You've
only.
been so quiet this whole time, and that's where you decide to speak up.
That's because these two imbeciles wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, wait a sec. Wait, when did the first movie? Oh yeah, 2004. Damn it.
2004, yeah.
Yeah, a year after the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out. Oh boy, no wonder Bruckheimer was riding high with Disney.
Oh yeah, he was on top of the world in the mid 2000s,
Yeah.
and then
I
he
mean,
just kind of
I mean-
stopped being on top of the world.
Yeah, until the Lone Ranger came in and all went downhill.
yeah. Wait, but then again, he actually was always with Disney, believe it or not. When Disney had that Hollywood Pictures company, and he produced a lot of their movies. I mean, heck, you can count The Rock, even Gone in 60 Seconds as Disney movies.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, sadly, yeah, the Lone Ranger. That. Although he kind of bounced back a bit recently. I mean, the guy is had a comeback with Bad Boys 3, and now with Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah. So, well, I'm pretty sure. Does anybody else have anything they want to add regarding National Treasure 2?
I just wanted to say that I do think it's a fun sequel that holds up well with the first one. It ain't it's not a cinematic masterpiece, but it's National Treasure, and it's a very National Treasure movie. And I will say, I do look forward to how they reinterpret the whole National Treasure style once we get that series on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Because how we view history has changed a lot between the mid 2000s and now, and I'm really curious to see how they update the National Treasure style for the series.
I'm
excited for that.
I'm still waiting for the third one. I'm still waiting for the third one to come out.
Never gonna happen. If they haven't done it by now, they're not gonna. We'll never find out what's on page 37.
Agreed.
Although the second movie made more money than the first one.
It did domestically. I don't think it did internationally, and I think that was the problem.
Yeah,
I guess we as Americans didn't care about its history compared to the international side.
Damn it.
Well, what did you expect? It's American history. If they wanted to really dig into it, they need to go to China to get some of those Chinese audiences.
They went to Paris. There's box office money in France, right? They were in Paris for like 5
Okay,
minutes.
fair point.
Did you know
but-
there's a Statue of Liberty in France? I didn't until this movie came out.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I saw this movie for the first time either.
It's educational.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, before we keep on going, I'm gonna streamline some of these. I'm taking your advice here, and I'm actually gonna read a couple of small little clip notes versions of these, just to give you an idea what people think about these movies or what they thought about back when this movie first came out.
Cool.
Okay, let's see here. This one comes from Claudia Puig from USA Today, December 21st, 2007. This sequel is what you would expect. If you like the original, you'll probably enjoy this retread, but be warned, it bogs down in a drawn-out scene near the end. I know exactly the scene she's talking about, and
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
know
it's really it's really effing long.
Oh,
I love the. I also love the choice of words. You'll probably enjoy it. Probably.
Okay, hold on. Okay, this is from Peter Howell from the Toronto Star. As much as you want to applaud the movie's winking commitment to its own Looney Tunes logic, it's frustrating when lazy and illogical plot devices are used like cattle prods.
Wow.
Okay.
That is
I mean,
harsh.
to an extent, he is not entirely wrong. But good lord, can it be less harsh?
Oh my goodness. Okay, we got a positive one here. This is from Peter Hartlaub at the San Francisco Chronicle. This American history-themed action thriller doesn't get many points for realism, but it makes up ground in so many other areas that you probably won't care. This is one of the positive ones too. This is supposed to be one of the positive ones. Oh god. Okay, and keep in mind these are some of the top critics I'm reading off right now on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's go with one more. Okay, let's see. Okay, this one. I think this is from Stephen Ray from the Philadelphia Inquirer. A thumping Gabby slog.
Oh my god!
A slog.
Wow, that is harsh. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a sequel, so if you're not already invested in this universe and its characters, then yeah, it is a slog because it's really long and it's a lot of people just talking about plot points. So if you're not already into it, then I could see how it could be a slog. Me, I was very invested. I saw this in theaters. I think that this was a great progression for the and like what challenges the characters have here feel natural and like a good new challenges to put in front of them compared to the first movie. It works. I think it does anyway.
I agree. Okay, I know I said that the last one will be the last one, but this one I think deserves to be read, as this is from the late great Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Oh,
yeah. This one,
God.
To be fair, this is a split review. It's a 2 out of 4 because he didn't do 2 out of 5s. He did 2 out of 4s.
Okay.
This is a mouth agape movie during which your mouth hangs open in astonishment at one preposterous event after another. Jesus
Man.
Christ!
I was just using the words dick pandering for the sake of a joke, but goddamn, Roger, that quote of his speaks volumes.
Wow. I mean, it's harsh, but it's elegantly harsh, and the only way Roger Ebert could.
Agreed. Yeah. So I personally think National Treasure Book of Secrets is a very fun and very enjoyable film. Maybe not fantastic, but definitely not worth being called a thumping Gabby slog. I think this is definitely one of the more fun entries in the Nicolas Cage averse, if you want to call it.
Yeah. if we could,
if you want to spark your preteens' interest in history, like if you want them to Google things that will like actually, be somewhat historically interesting, then definitely this will give you the seeds to plant for something hopefully better to grow.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'd say kids can get a good kick out of these National Treasure movies. Like it can, it's a good entry point to get them into history. Yes,
I can't tell you how much I Googled pretty much every single phrase from both of these movies because I wanted to know more. I literally own a Freemason pin. I bought it off eBay. Oh, my mom bought it off eBay because I was like 13 at the time, but still.
No, but hey, it's progress and it counts.
Yeah. Besides, those movies are more popcorn films. Like it's just there for you to have fun, bring a bag of popcorn, and just enjoy. And I mean, if nothing else, imagine if these movies were directed by Michael Bay.
Oh god! Don't even make joke.
Oh my
god! Yeah.
My god.
Even my dumb dig pandering joke is an understatement with when Bay is involved.
Yeah,
the same man who made the Underground Railroad a literal railroad, and it was a transformer.
Jesus Christ!
When did that happen? Was that in the last night?
I think so. I saw a video of someone rambling on about it, and they mentioned that. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, these fucking movies are so interchangeable. I think they're all literally the same movie, but with different titles.
Like a transformer killed Hitler, maybe. I think.
Funny.
Oh, come on!
Funny you mentioned that. At the time when the fourth movie came out, our bud Gabriel showed me the video where these two guys are watching the first three Transformers movies simultaneously, 3 different screens, and they all blend in. I mean, the only difference, obviously, is the time length. But it's funny that the first 2 films, they last nearly identical time lengths, while the third film is the longest.
The fourth movie, though, almost 3 goddamn hours, and nothing important is happening.
Yeah, except for a cool ass action third act in Chicago. Other than that, the fourth and the fifth movie are like, I don't even want to talk.
What I'm saying here is never let Michael Bay touch the National Treasure franchise if you want to hold any mild educational value to it.
For the love of God, no. Stick to producing.
Like the next,
no Bay money in National Treasure. Okay.
Yeah. Next. Yeah. I mean, if you want me to ruin something for all of y'all, we know who legit killed John F. Kennedy, and it was a transformer. There.
Did you just make a Bill O'Reilly joke in my podcast?
Yeah.
No, that's a first for me. I didn't know that joke was already made.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Besides, it could have happened. I mean, Jerry Bruckheimer and Michael Bay worked together in a lot of movies. Heck, he discovered Michael Bay.
Did.
Yeah. I mean, it would have made a fun alternate history of what if Michael Bay made these National Treasure movies. Probably a lot of explosions. And the museum curator, played by Diane Kruger, would have been a lot more harder.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, all right, next movie, Starship Troopers.
Wait, no, I think it's my turn, dude. You could have picked.
Yeah, you'll hear from the host here. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's hear.
We're
all right.
Oh boy. I don't know.
Controversy time.
I don't know if I want to do this.
You don't have to. You could pick something else.
Oh no, I know I don't have to. Hey, no, Emma, no. Let me, please. I had to choose between 3 films that I consider to be monumentally not good. Like, these films were beloved when they first came out. Like, they were seen as the new second coming of Christ. Like, they were seen as fantastic. Like, you cannot top these. These are untouchable masterpieces. People were up in arms talking about them. Like, you see dude bros on Twitter talking about it and tweeting about how good they are and shit like this. Some of them even got so far as to say this should have been the one that won several Oscars, including Best Picture. I have 3 movies in mind that I wanted to talk about here, and each one I felt like I was digging myself a bigger and bigger grave as I thought about it. One of those in particular was going to be Nightcrawler, the Jake Gyllenhaal film. I despise Nightcrawler. I do not like it in the slightest.
I'm sorry, man, but I'm one of those few that love the movie and even saw the potential in Jake Gyllenhaal when he was casted as Mysterio in Spider-Man Far From Home. I was like, perfect, A+.
He was fantastic in that film. He was good as Mysterio. I do not remember what his character's name was in Nightcrawler at all. And another film that I was talking about, but didn't actually end up doing so is, I hate to say it, Birdman, or The Unexpected Value of...
Really? You know what? That's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah,
Birdman is a masterpiece.
No, it's not!
Well, what makes Birdman interesting to me, not everyone shares equal thoughts on it. Even I watched this with my family, and I enjoyed it the first time around, but my parents were like, "What?"
Yeah,
and then when everyone, if they seen Birdman, what did they say? Some liked it, some didn't like it. I guess the only reason why I don't know if I enjoy this out of with guilt or anything. I guess it's because of Michael Keaton, because I like Michael Keaton as an actor. Because I grew up, I grew up with him, so I have a biased outlook. But I can see where the criticism is coming from in Birdman, because Birdman, it's kind of a weird trip.
Yeah,
you don't have to like Birdman, but I think we all owe it a little bit of gratitude for revitalizing Michael Keaton's career. Like, he's everywhere now, and that's mostly thanks to Birdman.
I mean, and I'm fine with that, and I'm glad that this movie did so many good things to everyone involved. But did it seriously deserve Best Picture over Boyhood? Or even over Whiplash? Or over Grand Budapest Hotel? I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, I agree. Hold on.
Was it really that good?
Yes, because it was about actors it was about actors suffering. And
I've seen that so many times! What did this movie do different? It was done in a tracking shot. I love tracking shots, but did it really need to last as long as it? And this isn't even the movie that I actually chose to talk about, by the way.
Okay, those are the honorable mentions. What did you actually pick?
Well, let me add my final thoughts on Birdman. Because okay, Birdman. Yeah, as I said, the first time I enjoy it, but then as time progresses by, and then when I look at Birdman and Michael Keaton's career, any actor's career, the irony is starting to sung. And what I mean by that is that now Michael Keaton is in plenty of comic book movies, to now even reprising his role as Batman. It's like, it's weird to say that. Yeah, I get it. Nowadays, it's dominated with comic book films, mostly from MCU, and with a hit here and there from DC. But it's still kind of weird that. Yeah, but then, but when you look at when you look at Birdman and the movies that have been influenced by, whether it's from the past or in the future, it's kind of hard for me to enjoy Birdman the same way as I did for the first time in theaters, because I forgot the right word here.
It kind of reality met fiction, basically.
Yeah, it kind of something like that. It kind of shoots itself unintentionally in the foot, because as a movie, it's an all around okay movie. and I am more intrigued on what each people has to say about Birdman, but I'm not gonna say that I recommend it. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
even remembering way back in the day, I was kind of hesitant to even recommend Birdman because I was like, this is all for me. Like, this is like movie made just for me. If anyone likes it or if anyone doesn't like it, fine. I still
Yeah.
find enjoyment. But
Yeah.
now, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
done.
Birdman's one of those movies that like
I mean, I admit, as much as I like Birdman, I cannot deny the flaws and and besides, it did not deserve to win over Whiplash because Whiplash was the best movie of that year.
Well,
yeah, Birdman's one of those movies that like I liked it. I'm glad I saw it, but I don't care enough about it to defend it. It's one of those.
Yeah,
But
that.
that's not even the actual pick here. Can we? What's your actual pick,
Yeah,
man?
what's the actual pick?
So,
Ooh, what's your pick? What's your pick? What's your pick?
okay, so since
It's
you
Man of
guys,
Steel. I knew
What?
it. I knew
What?
you were gonna pick Man of Steel.
no, because why would I pick a shitty movie that was considered shitty then and is still shitty now that I consider to be shitty now to this day?
Yeah, according to you.
I don't.
According to you.
According to everybody.
Already, come on, man.
I'm trying to, but these guys keep interrupting me. So, well, okay, so this one's gonna be a little bit of a okay. Since you guys were talking about Birdman just now, the one movie that I was gonna actually talk about here, it isn't the one that won Best Picture. It's the one that he followed it up with, The Revenant.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness!
Good.
I
Man,
saw this
double-
movie.
Quite a double whammy. Do you haven't, man? I guess Alejandro Iñárritu really touched a nerve on you.
Yeah, do you have something against this guy or what?
Oh, I have nothing against Iñárritu as a director. He made Babel. I love Babel. I mean, even now when I say that, I think Babel was maybe could have been shot a little less pretentiously. But you know, he's not Terrence Malick. I'll give him that. I cannot stand Terrence Malick movies. I'm gonna die on that hill. I don't care how many people get mad at me for saying that.
Hey, go join. I'll join you because I can't stand Terrence Malick. I tried to see The Tree of Life back in that year where everybody praised the
Tree
movie.
of Life.
The Tree of Life.
You guys want me to just talk about that instead? Because I hated that movie so
I didn't even
much.
bother.
But
I didn't even bother.
But yeah, continue with The Revenant because
Okay.
I have my thoughts to say as well.
Okay, so hold on. Because even thinking about this now, this movie kind of really touches a nerve on me. So for those of you who have never seen The Revenant before, let me set the tone for you. The Revenant is and I stretch this, I need to stress this, a very, very loose reinterpretation of the life of Hugh Glass, from his attack with a wild bear to his brush with death that left him nearly dead, trying to hunt down the man who ruined his life. A frontiersman on a fur trading expedition in the 1820s fights for survival after being mauled by a bear and left for dead by members of his own hunting team. Now, where this movie had me is this movie was shot on location in wherever the hell it is that this movie took place in, because I honestly completely forgot. Even now thinking about it as we speak, this film looks beautiful. It is one of the most gorgeous looking movies I have ever seen, and it's probably one of the first movies I would recommend people to watch if they ever want to watch what 4K movies should look like. That is the praise that I'm going to give this. But even when I talk about the praise, I have to go back to talk about how overwhelmingly pretentious this movie is, and that's not even my big issue. But we'll get to that issue in a second. This movie is long. First of all, this movie is 2 hours and 36 minutes. 2 hours and 36 minutes of an almost infernally long continuous shot of poor Leonardo DiCaprio begging for a fucking Oscar. Getting mauled by a bear, getting attacked by a bear, getting shot, getting burnt, having to resort to taunting a fucking horse and living inside of it just to stay warm. And in my mind, I'm thinking, just go, just give him the Oscar, and please tell him to stop. I feel so bad for this poor guy because he's trying so hard in the movie that really offers him such little in terms of what he's actually doing. He's doing so much in this film, but not a whole lot of it is interesting, and not a whole lot of it really amounts to anything, especially when you consider that this is supposed to be based on the real life Hugh Glass, and it tells the story in such ridiculous, look at how pretentious we are fashion. It changes history to really set itself up and make itself seem more unique, but what it does is it takes a already boring story and just makes it predictable and boring.
Yeah.
So,
The only good thing about that movie is that how Iñárritu shoots the action scenes, because they are engaging, and that bear sequence was, well, to be fair, I was at the edge of my seat when he got attacked by that bear, but other than that, I mean, it was just pretentious. I mean, heck, to the point where DiCaprio had to eat like real bison liver, despite him being a vegetarian.
Oh, what?
yep.
Yeah, he does that.
Oh.
He's a vegan, part of the Scott the Was vegan squad.
Did this turn him
And-
into a vegan?
Nope, he was a vegan beforehand.
He wasn't. He was always a vegan prior to the Revenant. It's just the only way that he could get. The only way that I guess could won him an Oscar. Which don't
He
worry,
really
I'll get to my.
wanted that Oscar.
I'll let. But
They
although
couldn't
I
have just
want,
given
I
it to
will.
him for Django Unchained.
He didn't even get nominated. He didn't even get nominated.
Let me add my 2 cents on the Oscar win for DiCaprio. The only reason he won, not only because of the Revenant, because he was like over the age of 40. Because if you know the history of the Oscars, nine times out of 10, most of the winners are actors who are legit middle age from the
That's true.
over 40s.
Unless it's like a big breakout role, like an introducing, and it's a really thriving young talent. The most of the time it is people who have been in the industry for a really long time. They have a really established name, and for someone like Leo DiCaprio, or even was that the same year Olivia Colman won, or am I thinking of a different year?
It was a different year, but Olivia Colman did win. It was
But
Olivia Colman won in
that's the fact where he's
2018,
been
I believe.
nominated so many times, and then that's their moment. They finally got it for a movie, I guess.
Yeah, it happened this year with Jessica Chastain.
People can
Yeah.
joke about people can joke about like Leo just crawling to the Oscars throughout the movie of the Revenant, but the reality is the Oscars is quite stale from the way how they award these actors and their choices of nominations. With not saying all nominations are awful, but it's gotten
Yeah.
to the point where it's not becoming interesting anymore. It's becoming way too stale, way too predictable, to a point where the animation category is a joke in and of itself because Disney is getting. I mean, you know that episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog where Cats has a closet filled with second places trophies? Well, I imagine Disney.
Aw.
I imagine Disney with those a closet filled with Oscar trophies of their animated pictures. That
Sad,
isn't
isn't
it?
it?
That they share with Pixar.
Yep. Oh my goodness. That's one thing. I really think that this movie kind of became only as popular as it did because so many people were pretty much looking at this with the vain hope that this would finally be the movie that would break the losing streak for Leonardo
I think
DiCaprio.
so too. Because
And-
people were really rooting for him that year. People were like, "This has got to be it, right? Please let him finally get it." People were clinging and hoping
even-
that this would
even
finally be the year.
Even
Yeah.
though he probably deserved the Oscar after being in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes! Yes!
Or better,
Finally, somebody said it.
or better yet, in the movie Shutter Island, which that movie was amazing by Martin Scorsese, and he was spectacular in that film.
Yeah. By the way, not to redirect the attention here, but wasn't Shutter Island based on a graphic novel?
I thought it was based on a book.
Because
Which
is like a
that's
graphic
exactly
novel,
what
but
he's
without the
saying.
pictures.
Okay, so I only asked that because the whole Martin Scorsese versus Marvel and DC thing is getting so ridiculous that when I read that, I was like, wait a minute, didn't you make Shutter Island? Wasn't that based on a graphic novel? I could be wrong. I'm just saying. I swear I read somewhere that Shutter Island was based on a graphic novel.
No, it was based on a novel.
Oh, just a regular novel. Okay, well that makes sense. But
Okay, yeah.
okay, so back
so
to
it's weird to say that so many of the good movies that DiCaprio has done throughout these past few years before Revenant, like I hate the fact that the Oscars are just so blindsided by their current policies in terms of how they award the said nominees. It's like it's silly. So and
Also, let's
now
remember that this is the same. He won the Oscar directed by a director who had won previously for Birdman, so he was quickly becoming an Oscar darling. So once this guy came up, I don't remember who won director that year. It might have been him. I'm not sure.
it was him. It was him.
Yeah. See, so he was still hot news by the time The Revenant came out. So they just kept it going, kept the momentum going.
Oh my god. But so this is actually still relevant to the whole Leo thing, and let me tell you one thing that I know for a fact I'm gonna get a lot of hate for saying. When Leo was nominated and won that year, he was not my first choice for Best Actor winner of that year. And I see him winning in the same way that I see the most. Okay, let me kind of set the mood here. Remember how everybody was up in arms over the fact that Chadwick Boseman lost the Oscar for Best Actor to Anthony Hopkins?
Yes, including you.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I remember.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is this. I think Anthony Hopkins deserved it. And in this situation, Leonardo DiCaprio was the Chadwick Boseman of 2015. He was nominated for his worst performance ever, but somehow he ended up winning. Now, as I say this, I want to emphasize
that year.
That's as I say this, I want to emphasize who the real winner was, in my opinion, that year. It was Matt Damon for The Martian. Maybe Bryan Cranston for Trumbo. Maybe Michael Fassbender. The fuck you, Eddie Redmayne, and that transphobic abomination that was the Danish girl. But Leonardo DiCaprio was like my fourth choice for Best Actor that year. His performance wasn't bad. His performance was nothing, though. It was a nothing performance. He had literally nothing to do in this movie. It's just things happening to him, and the camera just kept following him around as things were happening to him.
I mean, but honestly, I didn't give much attention to those movies that year. I wasn't surprised that he would win. I mean, it was a much deserved Oscar win. Probably not for The Revenant, but he should have gotten it in Wolf of Wall Street, or heck, even. I'm trying to think of another movie that he was nominated.
Like the Departed.
Departed. That one was a good one as well. You can look at any one of his movies that he did in the past that he should have been nominated for an Oscar and would probably have deserved it.
Titanic, anyone?
He didn't even get nominated for that. I'm so sad that he never got nominated for Titanic. That is the most. My mom told me that apparently he went home depressed that night when Titanic won every single Oscar that he got nominated for, except, well, he never even got nominated. And I don't blame the poor man. I would be upset too if everybody praised everyone else's performances except for me, because his career kind of went on a bit of a spiral after that. People were shitting on him as a person, and he kind of became a pariah amongst men
That's not
everywhere. And that, to
Yeah.
me, that's complete BS in my opinion. But
I mean,
this is
it's
the
no,
reason
it's
why he actually had to kind of claw his way back into everybody's good graces. Like, I'm sorry I was in this movie. Please like me again. That's what I see with the Revenant, as him basically trying to show people, I am a good actor. I was in a movie you didn't like, but I'm a good actor. Please love me again.
Even though by
I mean,
that
at
time
least he
in the
didn't win Best
Revenant,
Picture.
yeah, even by that time he was Revenant, he was already in great movies. Django, The Aviator, The Departed, you name it. And also what was the other movie that he did? Oh god damn it, Shutter Island. Oh no. Damn it. It was a Martin Scorsese film. Man, I forgot.
I
Forget it.
personally think Catch Me If You Can is kind of underrated.
Oh
It
yeah, that was a
is.
good movie too. Catch Me If You Can is a very underrated film from Spielberg, and probably a good performance from DiCaprio. And
It was.
It
yeah,
really was.
yeah, I'll be real here. Like, I'm just glad that he. I mean, yeah, we can all shit on Revenant all we want, and I don't know. I haven't seen the movie ever since I watched it in theater, so I don't know how my opinion stands with that movie. But
You've got a
I'm
leg
just,
on me. I didn't even bother seeing it. I watched the
yeah,
trailer and I was like, this isn't for
You
me.
didn't.
I don't
You
want to
didn't
see
miss a
Leo
single
DiCaprio back
thing.
there. So
You
I
didn't
yeah,
miss a
and
single thing.
so but I will say this: I'm just glad he finally won something. I
yes.
mean, purely for the wrong reasons. But at least he gets to finally display an Oscar trophy in whatever shelf he's put on at his personal
Yeah.
home.
I mean,
And I'm just,
honestly, at this
and I'm
point, I don't even
also,
think he cares.
and him, and he, yeah, and him still making more, still doing a lot of movies that don't exactly need to be like nominated for Oscars. In the end, some movies did get nominated, even movies that you hate, Seb. Huh, huh.
Like
yeah.
what?
And also, he was been producing a lot of movies. Like even he produced this movie, Live by Night.
Ah,
Isn't that the
God.
Ben Affleck movie?
That's what I was
Ben
gonna
Affleck
say.
movie?
Wasn't that the Ben Affleck movie that failed financially and critically?
Yeah, even though when I saw it, it's not even that bad of a movie.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was basically okay, and I spent the majority of this just talking about Brad Pitt, and like I said, Brad Pitt's performance maybe wasn't that bad. I'm not saying it was a bad performance. I'm just saying maybe it should have gone to Matt Damon or Brian or Michael or anybody who isn't Eddie Redmayne. And
Wait. Do you mean Leo DiCaprio? Because you just said Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
It
Oh
was,
yeah,
yeah, it was.
yes.
It
I
was
was thinking
talking.
about. I was talking
I
about.
thought you were going back a couple
Yeah.
conversations.
No,
I
no,
was thinking about.
he's talking about the rest of the actors who have been nominated in the year that Revenant came out.
Yeah, but
Okay.
if I mentioned Brad Pitt, I was probably thinking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But no, what I was actually gonna say is, that was only one of the issues that I have with this movie. Forget about the pretentious visuals. Forget about the notice my directing. Notice my directing. We shot on location and we have natural lighting. Notice my directing, motherfucker. Eat a
And
dick.
look, and don't forget the sky shots. Oh,
Oh
sky,
no.
many sky
Yeah,
shots.
and
And
also
They
a
the
lot of shots of trees. Look at the trees, the trees. Yeah, I'm looking those trees. Now get back to the bear mauling, or heck, just him going on his revenge. Why the fuck do I sure to care about the trees?
Oh yeah, about the revenge. This is where the movie really lost me. I really, really hated what this movie did with the story. I have this very big issue when it comes to movies that are quote unquote based on history, and they take the history, but then they just wipe their asses all over and make whatever the hell that they want with it. I hate when movies do this, especially pretentious art house pieces like this, where they took the story of Hugh Glass and they pretty much just weaved an entire narrative around it that has nothing to do with Hugh Glass or the shit that he went through. Like, for those of you who have not seen this movie, Hugh Glass
No.
did actually get attacked by a bear. This is actually the thing that he is most famous for. In fact, that's the only thing that he is famous for, because he did a lot of things, but nothing that he did will ever top him getting attacked by a bear and living to tell the tale. So the whole thing with the Revenant that loses me is the way that they play fast and loose with the history on Hugh Glass's life. They made him a father, not like a father figure, but like an actual father to one of the Native Americans in this movie. He had a half Pawnee son named Hawk who ends up getting murdered in the beginning of the movie by Tom Hardy's character, who is also based on a real life person. I don't remember who he was, but it wasn't the same character, it wasn't the same person, and the whole revenge thing is him trying to hunt down Tom Hardy and trying to kill him. And let me just address this right there on the spot right now. No, he had no son. He did not wed one of the natives. As far as I'm concerned, this whole thing was 100% bullshit. And I'm reading the Guardian's report right now. The backstory about Glass's love for a Pawnee woman is fiction. It has been suggested the real Glass had such a relationship, but there's no firm evidence and no evidence that he had any children. And then there's the ending. So if any of you saw the movie, you know that it ends with Tom Hardy's character getting killed by the natives. They find him and they kill him. We don't even get the good grace of seeing Leo being the one that kills the guy who murdered his own son. So
Yeah,
Dave, thank you for that.
I don't
By the way,
I don't like that either. Like ending with Leo not even committing the final blow, despite the buildup, and when he reaches up to that point, because okay, revenge stories, I'm not expecting like a big explosion at the end, because when you do revenge story, what you get, yeah, when you're going on a vengeful journey to get the man that has cost you for whatever type of circumstances that was never meant to be in your life, and your things ain't sorry, I'm trying to clear my throat. Things ain't always gonna end well when you actually got to your revenge. So when he just lets Tom Hardy go and let the natives die, and oh yeah, and apparently one of the natives is actually the chick that we saw in the middle of the movie. It's like, what?
yeah.
That's quite a pure coincidence.
Oh yeah, very much of a coincidence. And you want to know how this actually took place in real life?
Go ahead.
It didn't. No one dies. Because he never got that revenge. Because the dude that committed the act actually ended up running away and he was never found. Nobody got killed in real life.
Yeah, I thought it was more like he found the guy where he lived, but he just found out that he left and joined I guess the Union, because at the time it was during the Civil War, and he joined the Union, or I guess it was the Confederacy, and he died in the Civil War.
It was something similar to that. Also, I'm not even going to talk about how this movie portrayed the French Canadians in this film as basically treating them like a bunch of murderous psychopaths who love to rape every single woman that's in there. Like, forgetting that for a second, I really hate the way that this
Also,
movie...
our resident Canadian isn't here.
What?
Also, our resident Canadian isn't here to, add any info to that.
Unfortunately, this would have been a good time to have Hex involved. I'm sure she would have had a field day with how this movie portrayed her people. But this film really, it left a huge sour taste in my mouth all multiple times I watched it. Because let me make it clear to any dude bros. Yeah, let me make it clear to all the film bro dude bros watching this video or listening to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. I watched this movie multiple times. Once by myself because I wanted to see what all the fuss is about, and another again with my mom because she wanted to see it because she's a big fan of Leo and she thought, oh wow, he's gonna win an Oscar for this. I'm sure I need to see this. I watched this movie a total of 2 goddamn times in theaters, and then I watched it again when I rented it off of Redbox years ago. I watched it a total of 3 times. So I know I know what I'm talking about when I say that this goddamn movie sure as hell was not the follow-up to Birdman that everybody was expecting for. This film was a lot of things, but good lord, it was not a good film. I really cannot stand this. It is one of those movies that really pinched a nerve for me. Like Birdman at least had some redeeming qualities. Even though I hate that it won Best Picture, I do agree that it had some visuals to it that I really like. I love the cinematography, and I even like the cinematography here as well by oh my god, I'm gonna fuck up his name. Hold on. Emmanuel Lubezki. I do apologize if I mispronounced your name in any way. I love the visuals. I love the scenery. I love the tracking shots. Tracking shots are my go-to. They are my biggest. They are my turn on when it comes to movies. I live for this shit. There's a reason why I loved 1917 as much as I did, and that movie is a masterpiece. The Revenant, on the other hand, this was no 1917. It did not have any of the characters, it did not have any of the story. It did not have anything that it was a poor man's version of Birdman. It was a poor man. Hell, this is a very poor man's version of an art house film. It felt like a parody of what art house movies typically tend to be like. Like, oh, look at all these visuals, look at all these landscape porn, look at notice my directing. Look, there's a pyramid of skulls in there. It represents something. Maybe it represents the slaughtering of the Native American tribes in America. I don't fucking know. But hey, I'm not gonna explain it. You need to figure that out yourself. Notice my directing.
Can I ask you a question in that vein?
Sure, go ahead.
So you could say what you want about Birdman, but its theme and more importantly, what it wanted to say is pretty clear. Do you think The Revenant fails because it doesn't really have much to say?
The Revenant had nothing to say. The Revenant wanted to basically say, like, I agree with what you're saying about Birdman. I do not see a single thing that The Revenant had to say. The Revenant was basically, it doesn't know if it wants to be a movie that's criticizing American colonialism, or if it wants to be a movie about a man trying to get revenge for the death of his son that doesn't actually exist. Like, I almost it's okay. I almost feel like this movie was made through executive. This movie was concocted through executive meddling. I honestly feel like Iñárritu wanted to just make a beautiful, visually striking story of how Native Americans were attacked and tortured during the 19th century, but then they realized, oh, we're never going to be able to market this unless you have an action scene or two in it. So okay, we'll take a historical figure and we'll make a story about him. Okay, but you know what, we need to make him relatable, so give him a family and give him children. He never had a family. I don't give a shit. Give him a child. Okay, well, how about we just give him one to need? I don't care how he does it. Just make sure that he is relatable and that everybody is able to relate to him, so that they can be able to grow attached to him, so that they want to see more about him. And let's get an expensive actor to play him too. Maybe one who will definitely get an Oscar for this, who will definitely be putting butts in seats. That, to me, that's just how it feels with this movie.
That kind of sounds something that in the movie Green Knight, with Dev Patel's character when he goes on a journey to face the Green Knight. Like, the Green Knight is like, it's starting to come back to me with how the movie progressed, like The Revenant, I mean. And then when I compare it to the Green Knight, I just wish the Green Knight should have been like the Revenant should have been the Green Knight, like, because our main character that Dev Patel plays is a nobody, and he goes on this journey to face a knight, and he's not exactly part of the Knights of the Round Table, and when he reaches up at the end of his journey, yeah, you may see a vision of how the future may end up, but it's still gonna end on a fucked up note. And the Revenant, comparing to the Revenant, Yeah, from everything you're saying, yeah, The Revenant is a very cliche Hollywood blockbuster based on a loose story from the 19th century and just add any pure fictional elements just for the sake of drama to keep the audiences engaged. It's like the kind of movie that producers would say, yes, put this in because it keeps the audiences engaged. Like, look up the charts, look up the amount of audiences that may find this like very captivating. Know what I'm saying?
I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but that is 100% pretty much exactly what I was trying to get across with this. But
I mean, I can't speak for The Revenant. I haven't watched it, but I probably never will. But from Sebastian's description, it does commit a sin that it seems like it commits a sin that ultimately frustrates me the most with a movie where I can't see the point. Like, to use a couple of recent examples, I wasn't a huge fan of Power of the Dog, and I know Sebastian wasn't either.
hello.
And that was but at the end of the day, I got what it was going for. It just kind of threw me off guard, and I wish it did something else. But I get what it was going for, and for what it was going for, it was probably done really well. It just wasn't for me. And a different recent example is Licorice Pizza, which I didn't even finish because I have no idea what that movie was trying to do or say.
It was
Even
trying to
no
make
matter
people feel
what,
uncomfortable, is what it was trying to
a
do.
story should be putting something before an audience, a lesson, a relationship, a theme, something, even if it's the most basic, simple thing ever that anyone could understand. But if you fail at that, then what's the point of telling the story?
I gotta be very honest. That is, and that no scene exemplifies that entire argument better than the scene with the buffaloes, or rather the bison. Like, this scene comes right the hell out of nowhere in the movie, and I promise you, if I almost legitimately want you, Kate, to rent and watch this movie just so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. Because
But it's so long.
it's two.
Yeah, true.
It's only.
Yeah, true.
It's 2 hours and 36 minutes of Leo basically trying to win an Oscar, but this
Come-
scene in
come on.
particular.
And succeeding, apparently.
ah,
Don't force Kate. Don't force Kate to watch The Revenant. I mean, 2.5 hours. It may not seem long compared to the movies that I've seen that last long, if not longer than that time length. But I think The Revenant can be a drag. Even movies that last, even with movies that last at that kind of length, there's still ways that you can still keep your audiences engaged in that amount of time. Even the director's cut of some sorts that can last for 3 to a whopping 4 hours, it's still captivating. Hell, I just rewatched the movie Ben Hur for
Oh wow, yeah, that's a long one.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a long movie.
yeah,
It's
and
well
I
paced.
watched it. Yeah, on Holy Friday because it's kind of a tradition. Because I didn't want to bother to watch Ten Commandments because yeah, it's a really long movie with a ton of characters, which tons of star power cast there. I will say that, but then after watching Ben Hur, because Ben Hur has a similar premise where our Jewish prince was going on a vengeful journey to face the man that put him, framed him for something that he never did. But the way how that
Right.
film did is so wonderful. And especially because it takes place in the time when Jesus Christ was born and being, the all the first coming of the Son of God, and it still nails it really really well, especially Judah, John, uh, damn it, the actor's name who plays the main character Judah,
Charlton
there,
Heston.
yeah, Charlton Heston. I hate it when I can remember names well, but the point is the way how Judah's journey ended, especially when he reunites himself with his family. Yeah, it was rough at first, but it still shed a light at the end, and I think it's a wonderful way where revenge stories. It doesn't always have to end like with nothing, where the character lives on misery, not even achieving his revenge, it can always have a redemption theme to it as well. But the Revenant, as I said with the Green Knight comparison, and the way how the Revenant ended, where he didn't even commit the final killing blow on Tom Hardy's character, it's still a sin. I still say that's terrible storytelling in the way how you end a character's vengeful journey compared to most revenge stories I've seen. Whether it's the kind of revenge stories where a main character gets the killing blow but gets nothing at the end, or the character gets a redemption arc nearly in the last minute where it feels very fulfilling. I would
Yeah.
make another comparison, but I'm going to be here hours.
I was gonna bring an example for what you said, Lewis, about characters in their vengeful journeys. The Punisher from 2004. Yeah, that is a revenge movie. At least in that movie, Frank Castle gets his revenge by killing John Travolta.
Yeah.
Aw, poor Travolta.
Yeah, but don't worry, he was an asshole in that movie.
Yeah, he was an asshole. He was an asshole, but Emmanuel is saying, yeah, even the Punisher, he still goes on. He still punishes criminals, but he's probably not going to live a pleasant life afterwards because he's still a pretty messed up guy, and he still goes around killing criminals as an anti-hero. So, does it benefit him?
It's the most basic goal of a narrative in that, yes, I, like many other people, am getting annoyed that movies keep getting longer every year. Like, knock it off. But the length shouldn't matter if you keep someone invested in the overall story the entire way. And if you fail at that, then people are gonna feel that length. People didn't feel the length in Avengers Endgame because it's one thing right after the other, and it's all meaningful because of the journey it took to get to this point. People, from what I heard, were very much felt the length in, let's say, the later Transformers movies because things were happening, but why are we caring?
Exactly.
That's why I briefly mentioned that video where watching 3 movies simultaneously and
Yeah.
the third film drags on.
Yeah, or better yet, Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is 4 hours long, but at least it keeps you engaged of what's happening because, well, there's
And I also appreciate how that movie divides each part as chapters where I can actually have an excuse to stop right there and watch this
that's
part of the
really
movie
nice.
later.
Okay, this is a bit of an off-topic thing, but like, if we're gonna keep insisting on having movies that are over 2.5 hours long, can we bring back intermissions, please? I need a bathroom break.
Exactly. Yeah, I just mentioned Ben-Hur because Ben-Hur is in that time period where
And her had
there's
an
like
intermission.
like movies of from the 30s all the way up to the 50s where the movie started with an overture as notifying the audience this movie's about to start, intermission, okay, take a break, go to the restroom, get some
The original
snacks.
West Side Story has an intermission, for crying out loud.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
That depends on the director because I mean some directors love to basically make movies as long as 3 hours, 4 hours, or
I even had this story where I keep one of the most recent examples, and this is a movie that came out way back in the early 2000s, and it's long, yet it's a family film. Can you take a wild guess?
The Lord of the Rings.
King Kong?
Nope.
Basically,
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone. That movie was long, but it was
right.
but it was still captivating, and you're still engaged into the story and the world that was building up. And I find it funny that I don't know if one of you, Seb or Emmanuel, when we went to this showing of the movie where they played the real life orchestra of John Williams' score of the first movie, and it had intermissions too at that time, which I thought it was amazing. Like, oh my god, intermissions! We haven't seen this in ages.
Yeah. I actually, believe it or not, I actually went to see the Nightmare Before Christmas with my girlfriend in North Carolina. Me and Erica, we went to see it with an orchestra performing the music, and we had an intermission in there. And the way that they transitioned into the movie's music after the intermission was actually pretty inspiring. Hell, the way that they did it before the movie started was also pretty amazing. But going back to the movie here, because the one thing I will say here is, yeah, you watch this movie and you're not gonna. It is not gonna be a. You think it's gonna be about one thing, but it doesn't really look like it had any idea what it wanted to say. And even the way the movie ends, it doesn't feel like it had anything to say at the end of it. So I think it's only fair that we finish this by looking at some of the reviews. Only instead of looking at some of the positive ones that this one had, I'm just gonna take a look at the ones who all agreed with me when this movie first came out, because I need to know if someone else out there agreed with me with this.
Hey, can you mix and match with the positive and negatives? Because I wanna roast the critics who give good reviews too.
Oh, don't worry. Not to worry. I'm gonna do exactly that. All right. So let's see what we got here. Okay, this one comes from Jason Bailey of Flavor Wire. Making the Revenant was an ordeal, you see, in which people froze and suffered and came to blows, and they'd like to pass the ordeal onto you, the viewer.
Aw.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's classified as a rotten. It's a rotten one. So you tell me.
Oh,
It could be wrong, but I was gonna go with bad.
Okay.
Yeah, like I thought it was ironically positive, but go on.
No, I thought it sounded too ironic, but no. Okay. All right. This one comes from Bilge Ebery, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, from the Nashville scene. The physicality of DiCaprio's performance is certainly impressive, as is the technical effort that certainly went into the making of the film. But as a whole, the movie arcs toward tedium. We become less involved in Glass's ordeal as he goes on.
That sums up your opinion there, Seb.
A little bit. Actually, no. This one sums up my opinion. This one comes from Nick Pickerton from Sight and Sound. Is it overwhelming but unmoving? A rush of brute force that leaves a nagging afterthought? Is that all there is? It's an open-ended question. I have literally no. It doesn't answer it.
I think that's a funny way to give us the best cliff note of a negative review. Just asking the question with all the brute force and all the crawling, was it worth it for a trophy?
Oh, let's see what some of the positive ones had to say, shall we? This is a 5 out of 5 star review from David Sexton from the London Evening Standard.
David who?
David Sexton from the London Evening Standard. This is a frontier story made as no other has been before. It's immense. Now, no disrespect to Mr. Saxton from the London Evening Standard, but bitch, please! Have you seen this story a million times before? Are you serious? No, as no other has been done before. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, like it sounds sounds like he's just purely looking at the movie and just looking at the sparkles of it instead of the hidden damn it, what would be
He's
the best way
he's looking at the visuals but not focusing on the bigger picture.
I got it. Like looking at how sparkling the movie looks while not noticing the creepy maggots around DiCaprio.
I think that pretty much sums it up perfectly. Okay. Let's see here. This one comes from Matthew Licona from San Diego Reader. The journey is long and painstaking, the better to give you a sense of just what is being opposed to what.
Oh, that's the best review of The Green Knight I've ever heard.
And this is a positive review too.
Oh wait, that's for the Revenant?
Yeah, that's for the Revenant.
Yeah, wait, that's for the Revenant.
Yep,
Is that
and it's a it's a positive one too.
Damn it! Like, I mean, joking aside, man, that sounded so positive. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's no lie. It is a painful journey, but to what cost? Again, going back to my question.
Okay. Oh, here's another positive review that I genuinely think this had to be ironic. This is from Marjorie Baumgarten from Austin Chronicle. The film may leave you as near speechless and mono-minded as its battered returnee from the dead. I mean,
Well, I will say
they're not wrong.
well, that is a total fucking lie because what everyone felt after watching the movie is like this. Man, hopefully Leo can win an Oscar this time.
No. The movie literally ends with him looking at the camera, but with the look clearly saying, "All right, give me the Oscar. All right, I want to get out of this cold. I'm freezing my nuts off."
At this point, I'm just surprised he didn't just go full meta and literally froze his nuts off just to win the Oscar. At that point, I think he was gonna go for a fucking Pulitzer.
Would have been a good meme, but I think it's too late.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna read one more. And this is from Anthony Lane from the New Yorker. This is a negative one. After a while, the Revenant turns into a slog. Make no mistake, it's a very beautiful slog. I gotta say,
Wow, two
that is-
He was
word
He was
slog.
on point.
I seem to have a good track record with finding reviews that have slog written on them.
Honestly, you definitely saved the best for last because that perfectly sums up the movie overall. Beautiful yet a slog.
Yeah, I should have gone with Rotten Tomatoes instead of Metacritic. That was my mistake when when I first started doing this in the beginning, and then you assholes
Yeah.
interrupted me. But I want to. Yeah, well, I want to talk about one thing before we stop with the Revenant. You keep bringing up the Green Knight and its ending, but here's the thing, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who has not seen the Green Knight. But first of all, the Green Knight is a godforsaken masterpiece. It is a goddamn beautiful movie. I love it. I cannot stop talking about it. It's so good. I recommend you watch it. You're gonna love it.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
fantastic.
Same
Honestly,
here. I recommended.
Yes, but
Honestly-
what I'm trying to say, yes, Eminal?
Yeah, honestly, I recommend The Northman more than the Green Knight, but that's just me.
I mean, they're both two completely different movies, but okay. But no, what I'm trying to say here is the way that you talked about how all of this journey kind of amounted to pretty much nothing. Here's the thing, and this is, I cannot say too much without actually spoiling anything, but the Green Knight's ending is not actually what you think. It actually ends on a surprisingly very positive way. If you really look at it and pay attention to the tiny details, you will see that the ending is a lot more positive and a lot less bleak and violent as you may think it is. Oh,
Yeah, but the last. I mean, again, I'm not gonna spoil, but there's that little after credits scene in the movie where it left me. Yeah, because I understand where the positive notes are coming from, but that little after credits scene, it's either a good positive note or maybe it could lead into a completely different direction where it may have in common with Dev Patel's character. So it's like I mean, I'm not discrediting the Green Knight, but that's why I love the movie. I love to try to dissect the little bits of this movie because yeah, when a journey gets long and you may do different encounters, which good lord, I prefer the Green Knight's encounters. The way how if we're comparing it to the Revenant, because all the stuff that Leo encounters in the Revenant. Yeah, I don't care. Give me something different. Not this whole violent shit going on and all the buffaloes.
yeah, this is the thing that separates this.
Let's not forget Leo going into a corpse of a horse just so he could rebirth and after heating himself up from the cold.
Oh yeah, that's what I mentioned with him getting inside of the horse like a tauntaun. But this is where the Revenant and the Green Knight are two completely different movies. The Green Knight had a story that it wanted to say, and it had an actual narrative, and it had, even though a lot of the shots can be seen as quote unquote pretentious, there's a point for everything that's in there. There's a reason David Lowery concocted every single scene the way that he did. Nothing happens without a reason. And even if you don't understand it the first time, when you really look at it and see the bigger picture that's right in front of you, you will start to pick up on those details very, very immediately. But that's because it had a story. The
Yeah,
Revenant
yeah.
doesn't have that. The Revenant doesn't know what it wants to be, and I think that's the biggest problem, is that it wants to be an art house film, but it also wants to be a revenge story, and it also wants to be an action movie at the same time. Like, what the fuck are you trying to be?
Yeah, that's exactly my point why I compared these two movies because with Green Knight, it is an art house film with actors that were not exactly that not everyone will be familiar with. And the movie is like a piece of its own that anyone can dissect. It can be engaging if you're in the right type of mood. But The Revenant, it's incredibly distracting while the movie is beautiful, but it's still a Hollywood blockbuster at the end of the day, where you got big name actors like Leo and Tom Hardy, after their fame and glories of Bane from The Dark Knight Rises and The Wolf of Wall Street.
Not,
But
not to mention Will Poulter, who is now going to be Adam Warlock.
yeah, so so it's kind of distracting to me that I see Revenant instead of a art house, but nothing more than just another Hollywood blockbuster pretending to be at art house, which is why I make that Green Knight comparison because yeah, these are apples and oranges. Everyone has their preference, but if you ask me, you pick this fruit over the other because it tastes better compared to it's the hard shell of the other one.
I think that kind of sums it up perfectly. Well, everybody, I don't. How did you guys think about this little experiment of ours?
I have fun. Actually, I have more fun talking about the national treasure movies that I.
Can I just say how interesting it is the fact that the rest of us picked movies that flopped that we thought were really good, and then Sebastian picks one that was successful that he didn't like. I don't know why. I feel like
I was kind of hoping for something like that. I think you all kind of got the wrong message of what I was trying to say here.
Yeah, I think that's funny. Like the rest of us praised on the movies that flopped, while Seth picked the one that he hates, and it is a success.
Yeah. And boring, because dude, you could have stretched that your hate on it too much to the point where I was kind of bored, man.
I mean, what did you expect? It's fucking Revenant. It's boring.
Well, I mean, to me, Talking the Revenant felt rewarding to me now because I
Yeah.
haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen the movie in years, but it kind of made me want to vent out how I see revenge stories that can,
Yeah.
be pulled off in a good line of light compared to how The Revenant did, or any other works that I've seen thus far that did an awful job on this type of storytelling. Because yeah, revenge stories you can really go off rails easily, but if you know how to do it, you can pull off something really good.
And
So
even how tough it can be for things that are praised during their respectful Oscar season to age well.
yeah,
This is
exactly.
not an
'Cause
isolated incident. There are a
yeah,
lot of movies that get
I
big buzz
mean,
during Oscar season, and people hardly ever talk about them again.
exactly. Like I don't hate the Oscars, but I do. But just like what James Rolfe said, we have to find there's something to appreciate the Oscars to discover these movies that they're
Yes,
nominated and see whether we like it or not.
right.
And that's something I 100% agree to James Rolfe. So
Yeah.
the Revenant just happens to be a bad apple of the bunch compared to uh, I mean, even the Oscars wasn't perfect either way back in the day. Even today, although actually not today, I think Coda deserves the win. That movie is actually
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes,
I
100%.
think we can all agree there. Coda deserved everything it got.
Yes. I honestly think it probably should have also won Best Director, but that's just me. No,
uh,
I think. What about you? I mean, you already told me what you think. So I will and wrap this up by saying one thing, and I think this is gonna sum it all up perfectly when I say this. We've had movies like Sweeney Todd. We had movies like Old Boy. We've had movies like Django and John Wick. I'm even gonna go as far as to say that we had movies like Taken. All of those movies are revenge films. You know what they all have in common that the Revenant does not have?
Care
Right.
about them?
Care to elaborate?
I can actually sit through and watch them and have a good time.
Yeah,
I think-
especially
I think that pretty much sums it up.
okay, it's weird when you you even mention Old Boy, like Old Boy.
I will sit through Old Boy and all the uncomfortable crap
No.
that movie has. I will
No,
take it over
Whoa.
this.
Whoa, okay, I get it. But the rest of the movies you mentioned, yeah, people can get into that. But we're talking Korean film Old Boy, or hell, even the remake by Spike Lee, which I
We
don't
don't
recommend
talk about
at
the
all.
remake. We don't talk about the remake.
But it's just old because just like Blade Runner, I had high expectations for Old Boy, and to tell you the truth, that was my second choice if I ever brought up in this conversation.
Oh my god. Hey, you know
Yes,
what?
Old Boy-
I think I don't mean to cut you off there, but I think you just gave us an idea for what could be the next episode.
Oh yes, because if next time if the four of us or more or less get together again, Old Boy would be next because it is also one of my favorite movies.
Well,
Oh, I've definitely got plenty in the pipeline if we do this again. I was saying when you were pitching this idea, one of my favorite things to do is to praise movies that I don't think get enough love. That's basically a good amount of my channel.
oh my goodness. Well, I think this is going to be. I think we can look forward to this. For the next episode, we're going to be talking about underrated gems. Films that did not receive the love that they deserved, and each one of us has to come up with at least one or two. We're going to go with one or two at the very least, so that we can have more to talk about, because I'm sure a lot of us have that opinion. And
I'm on board with that.
I'm on
okay.
board.
Anybody?
Oh yeah, and I'll even give a twist. Maybe I'll not talk about Old Boy next time, or maybe another Korean flick because I love me some Korean joints.
Okay. Well,
This time I can finally talk on my love for Man of Steel. Even though Seb will probably kill me.
Oh god. Oh man.
Oh
we're
dear.
gonna
Okay, let's end this.
Here if we do this.
Yeah.
God,
I
you don't
said-
want this-
I said, no, don't worry. It's okay. Nobody has to leave. Nobody has to leave. I'm only going to say this. I'm talking about underrated movies, Emmanuel. Not shitty Marvel or DC movies. That is going to be the big takeaway from this. No superhero movies. No Star Wars movies. No big franchise movies.
Okay,
Although
can
we
we
were,
get
although
into
you
the
were, although you
franchise?
were,
Because that's
although
what
you
I'm
were,
talking about.
Okay, all right, one at a time. One at a time. You're all talking at the same time.
although
This
you
can
were,
be after we're done recording, but can we get a definition on franchise?
Yeah, don't worry. I will talk. I will iron out the details for this later.
Yeah, let's
But
find out the details off
yes.
mic.
Yes. For now, let's just say we will go ahead, and if you guys are still up for it, we can reunite again later next week, because I am planning on making this a weekly show on Sundays at 7 o'clock. And since we were able to do this at 7 o'clock, I'm happy to see that we were able to pull it off. Thank you guys for joining me today. Do you guys have anything you want to say before we finish wrapping up?
No, just excited for next week to talk about Edge of Tomorrow.
Don't you mean let that repeat?
No, all you need is kill. No. It's all you need is kill. That's why I call that movie, and I'll always call it. All you need is kill.
Whatever you say, pal. What about you, Luis?
and all
Yes,
you
thank
need
you
is
for-
all you need is a new episode of Cinemageddon Reviews Podcast, Stories from the Wasteland, version 2.0.
Yes.
That's news from the Wasteland, you little shit.
But for my final say of the night, I hope you'll enjoy it. Hear me rambling on the movies from good and bad. And for this, have a lovely evening.
Good night, everybody.
I
Good
look
night,
at those.
everybody.
All right, Kate, you
Oh.
got anything you want to say?
Just thank you for having me. It was fun. I've always wanted to be on a podcast, so that's pretty neat. If I don't have to work super late, I look forward to being on next week. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to KateCast Reviews. I got a big subscriber boom recently. It's been kind of insane, and I'm getting way closer to 2,000. So if you haven't already, go check out my stuff. If you like the kind of stuff we talk about here, then
Hell
there you
yeah.
go.
There you go. All right. Well, that about wraps up today's transmission. Thank you so much for listening to us. And before we sign out, I'd like to give a special shout out to our patrons of honor: Wade in the Wings, Abigail Verzella, Chelsea A. Crandall, and Kate from KateCast Reviews. If you like what we do here and would like to see more, check out our YouTube channel for reviews, video essays, let's plays, and more. And if you want to help us keep the lights on this scorching desert we're currently living under, and check out our Patreon page for bonus content and exclusive rewards. I'm Sebastian from Cinemageddon Reviews signing out, and I'll see you on the Wasteland.